welcome back to Super Tuesday Recap. It's Kriss and Dpalm here. We're here to talk The Flash, and we're going to have some other things to talk about too. But we're going to first start with The Flash, Season 3, Episode 6. Wally has visions of being Kid Flash, so Barry must tell him about what happened in Flashpoint to keep him safe. What I want to do with this episode first is just point out something that we've talked about this before. This cast works so well together that you can do what would in any other show be considered in a really weak episode, right? Because your main villain in this episode, Shade, like, why? Like, that might have been the weakest villain they've ever done in an episode, but so much happens in it too in this episode between the cast and moving some things forward with them that I didn't care. And I guess
okay, see, I'm the other way. Yeah, I just feel like this was the most unbalanced episode of the season, and that even the chemistry of the team, while it saves it from being a disaster for me, I didn't, especially as I'm thinking about it now, I'm going through my notes, I didn't love this episode. And part of it is what you touched on is that, okay, you say the Shade in the Flash world, that's got to matter. Like, the Shade's like Jay Garrick's original nemesis.
Right. Like, and
this is the first time I think that they did the thing where they balance the subplots and the main plot so well, but I think the balance was too heavily weighted in one side this time.
Oh yeah, the main plot in this episode is worthless.
It's like it didn't happen.
Yeah, you can completely remove Shade and remove anything that dealt with him, and you have a completely different episode that focuses on Shade is completely unnecessary in this episode. And I think, to me, the cast working together is what keep, like, again, any other show, I would be pissed.
Right.
I just would be. But because there are enough smaller moments here and the other plot is more interesting, I let it go. Like, they throw something in the end when they're like, oh yeah, Alchemy's using it sent shades to distract you. I'm like, wait, when did we come to that conclusion?
Yeah, I was like, since when?
I mean, that's cool if he's doing that, but
is it because we've had the last two seasons our alleged big bad throwing bad guys at us?
True. But I mean, when I say it's cool, I mean it's par for the course. Like, that makes sense.
I see what you're saying.
But like, when did we come to that conclusion?
Yo, how did choking a stockbroker distract the Flash?
Well, I don't even know. Well, that's the other thing too. We don't know enough about what Shade. We didn't know how Shade was created.
Nope.
We didn't know if it was an alchemy. Because they even asked, it's like, is he an alchemy metahuman? Is it a particle accelerated metahuman? No. We didn't even get his real name.
Yep.
We got nothing about that character. And like, that's why this episode is so weird to me, because like that they've never done that before.
Right. And
it felt off, but there were other things in the episode that I was like, that kept me intrigued and interesting. So I let it slide. You know what it reminds me of? And people are, look, so I'm going to tell people right now, you're going to hear this before you hear our Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them review.
I can't wait to see it.
And I'm telling you right now, people are going to murder me and Phenom. All right?
No, come on.
No. Look, we like the movie. We end up giving it an 8 out of 10. But we are not Harry Potter fans. And when
you hate Joy, this is definite proof.
Yeah, it is. And but look, I repeatedly say during the review, this is probably my most favorite out of any of the Harry Potter universe stuff. Yeah. But the first thing I say in the review is the script is a mess. It is a complete mess, and it's almost like there's two completely separate movies in there. But you're okay with it because you're having fun and you like the cast and everything else is fine. so distraction enough. Like we end up comparing it to Batman versus Superman, where the difference is Batman versus Superman feels like work, whereas Fantastic Beasts is actually a joy to watch. So you don't care. And I'm saying all to say that's what this episode of The Flash reminded me of. Like, there's enough stuff there that I actually enjoyed and liked, and I'm going to get into that later. But the actual how they put it together, it leaves a little bit of questions. And you guys know how we are about this show. It takes a lot for us to say that, right?
Yeah, this is probably the most down I've felt going into a review. Like, you've helped me buoy it some, because you're right. The other stuff I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. But this is the most negative I've come into a review in 2 years.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch this episode last night. God, I felt like I didn't have to, because again, it was just it's well, like I said, there's a lot of stuff there to talk about, but the Shades thing really just it did bother me, and I'm like, this is the only show that they could do something like this, and I'd still be okay with. Like,
right.
You know, I don't know any other show that would do. Like, I would literally be pissed, but I wasn't pissed when I finished watching the episode. I wasn't pissed, but I kind of felt like I maybe probably should have been, because, like I said, the things they have done before with the secondary, like matter of fact, when they had Magenta, I believe that was her. Yeah, they did the same thing with her. She was kind of like a worthless side, character.
Well, she was, except that she ends up being the catalyst for them letting Jesse run. So she mattered.
Exactly. That's the difference here. Shades was literally a throwaway character, like to the point where when he's defeated, this is an episode where the Flash didn't do any Flash shit, if you think about it.
No Flash shit.
Until the very, very end. Because him defeating, like when they were like, well, Shades is vibrating at such a high speed, he looks like a shadow. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We're going to do some really cool, like speedster shit to defeat him. And all they did was turn on car lights.
Yeah.
Like, are you guys serious right now? So, I don't know. I have a feeling there's got to be a character that comes back, because I just don't see this show doing that and then not doing anything with him like that. Like it, I've never seen this show do that, and I think it was kind of jarring, because we've never seen that before from them.
Right.
So, all right. So let's get into some other stuff with it. Like I think that some other stuff that I kind of masked the issue with there. Wally, seeing Wally having the dreams. Like we knew that
Wally getting the opening monologue, the opening voiceover, dog.
Hey, like
that was dope as shit. Right. I laughed. I was like, "Yo, this is cool." I'm not gonna lie.
Right. What is it? What you hate the gloves though, right? Are you?
I forget. There's some part of that suit I do hate.
Right, some part of the. I couldn't remember what part of the suit.
I can't remember. So hold on. Let me. See. Let's pull open the Kid Flash suit.
But
get mad all over again.
Because I like it's the yellow, so I don't care. So.
Like, oh, we got yellow. It's over.
Yeah, it's yellow. I don't give a shit. So I'll take it. But no, man, I enjoyed that. Him, saving the little girl with the on her with her skateboard and all that shit. I enjoy that, and seeing Wally get to be the hero, and then also seeing him when he's telling Joe, and the joy he gets from knowing from having these dreams about saving people,
Right.
And so you see this and you're like, you definitely see how Wally could be Kid Flash,
Oh, definitely. He has a passion for helping people.
Right. Which is, if you think about it, in last season when we got Wally, all we really got was the speed and things like that and the rebel, but we didn't really get that passion for helping people like you feel like he's getting now. And I like that. And I did like how they tied it in to Barry later on feeling guilt for all these people wanting to, having people getting powers and doing all this stuff. And we'll talk about that in Caitlin a little bit later. But I like how they kind of tied that in. And even with him him asking Iris, wait, do you feel some kind of way about not having powers? And her kind of addressing something that people have said in previous seasons where sometimes they don't give her anything to do. And I like that. And I feel like that's, to go back to what we started this episode with, I think that's something that this show might be still trying to struggle with, is they have these episodes where they're clearly more character defined, but they know they think they need a villain.
Right.
And I don't think they do. And maybe this episode was them testing that theory out and going, hey, what if we do the bare minimum for a villain this episode and we just bring in, the big bad at the very, very end, and we make the rest of the episode about the characters? How will that play out? And honestly, I think,
you know why they had to use Shade this episode?
Why? Go ahead.
Because they keep repeating we're lying to our teammates mistake. If Caitlin hadn't been lying, she wouldn't have had to use the cuffs. You had to use the conceit to have her show her powers to Barry.
Yeah, no, but I think there's a way they could have done that without that, right?
Oh, I think they could have, but the fact that they're going to, and this is another problem I have with the episode, they're falling back on the same, this is what you and I have kind of tipped our cap to Arrow and somewhat to the show, that people are actually learning from their mistakes.
Right.
This is either an accelerated version of the rest of the team learning the lessons that Barry's already learned, because you go from I can't tell Cisco to telling Cisco to Cisco saying I can't tell anyone to him telling. It all happened very fast for me, and it felt inorganic. And I would have really appreciated it. I think it would have done the characters justice. Even when Cisco lied about what he saw, it would have done the characters so much more justice for them to be oh yeah, by the way, it would have shown growth to me. It would have. You don't have to have a Shade did. Then you go right into what I presume is next episode's focus is Killer Frost.
Right. I mean, it's called Killer Frost, so it's got to be Killer Frost, right? So. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that in one way, I'm happy that they sped through that. But on the other hand, you're right. They did a lot. It was a lot of lying just to get to telling the truth in one episode. Because you're right. Caitlin lies to get the cuffs. Then Cisco lies to her about the vision. Then they both lie to the team. Then Cisco tells the truth. It's you guys should just come out and tell the truth. It's we did a lot of you did a lot of lying just to end up telling the truth at the end anyway. And it doesn't seem to be any. There doesn't seem to be any consequences from it.
Right.
So, and I feel like it was different than, say, when you go to Arrow, you have, I feel like, and maybe it's just because Arrow's 5 seasons in now and they've gotten it more down pat. In Arrow, you've had several times of that, where the rest of the team is learning what Oliver's learned, or even Oliver falling back on, telling lies. And you get a different reaction than we've gotten before. So when the new team finds out that he was basically a serial killer, they're like, oh, fuck this. No, we got problems. And they meet amongst themselves and have a conversation. And it's a completely different reaction than the way Diggle and Felicity and Thea and them reacted when they first found out, right? It's when you had Felicity tell Roy about his about the nuclear bomb,
right?
His reaction is real. You're like, no, that's a genuine reaction. You're gonna need a moment. You're gonna need to take some time off. And he basically quit the team even a little bit on some. And while they moved quickly, it was very natural. In this one, it was like, okay, we're doing this, and I understand. I even understand the lies, but like you said, it moves so quickly. You're like, well, what was the point of even telling the lies?
Well, especially with, it looks like, and this is going off previews and going off things we've seen in the past, a lot of the conceit for the season is Barry's guilt and complicity for creating the Flashpoint. And then the entire thing was him keeping secrets and it literally backfiring on them in a new reality.
Right.
And she apparently, and we'll talk about, do you want to talk about Caitlin?
Let's talk about Caitlin.
Let's talk about Caitlin. So, are her powers affecting her personality, do you think? Or is this someone freaking out?
So that's the interesting thing to me that I think they're doing with Caitlin, and I'm really excited to see. And again, it goes back to why I'm not completely on, oh, fuck this episode. I think when you're doing Caitlin in this Flashpoint, it's not Flashpoint now, but this Flashpoint created world now with her getting her powers, you have to do it different than the Killer Frost we got in Earth 2, right? The Killer Frost we had in Earth 2, she was, for all intents and purposes, a cold-hearted bitch, but she was always in control. It seemed like that was a choice she made. She knew what she was doing. What they're doing with Caitlin now, it kind of feels like she doesn't have control, and that it's almost like a split. It's another personality of hers.
Right.
Which I think to me makes it very interesting and intriguing, because then it makes the character almost tragic.
And almost inevitable, because the more they try to avoid it, the deeper into the skid they seem to be going. Mm-hmm. The only counterpoint I have for you about Earth 2 Killer Frost is when she kissed Deathstorm, she said he's the only man she can kiss. So I'd question how much control she actually had then too.
Oh no, I don't mean over the power.
You don't mean power wise. You just mean her personality.
I mean personality wise. Like, she seemed completely into her personality. Like, and that's what I like about it. Like, this Killer Frost isn't going to be just the Killer Frost we got on Earth 2. Now this Killer Frost. It's a completely different thing. Like, when she got what was our man, the black dude? Fuck, I can't remember what his name was. The one that tried to
I forgot his name too, but cannon fodder number.
Yeah, cannon fodder number. Black dude number 1.
Red shirt.
Red shirt, black dude number 1. When he attacked her, you could almost see it take over her a little bit, and her mom had to talk her down. Like, that's not the Killer Frost we saw on Earth 2, right? And the same thing happens here. Like, when it's almost like, and I think to me, the thing that makes this really intriguing and exciting for me is, if you think about it, a lot of people have never really been there for Caitlin, right? And if you think about it, from season 1, her character's always been kind of weird. It always seems like she's closed off, she's different from everybody else, and while she has friends and she's there part of the team, it always feels like her personality is just so much different from everybody else. She's not outgoing like Cisco. She's not just awkward like Barry. There's like it feels like she's repressing a lot, right? And you got to think about it. This is a woman who has basically lost her husband twice.
Right.
So it would make sense that she's getting powers now, and there's more, and apparently she has the issues with her mom and with her father dying and things like that. There seems to be like there's a lot of repressed something inside of her. So it would make it a really interesting character if she's got these powers and the powers make her more unstable, and she becomes this, not a full bad guy, but somebody who can't always control herself. And I think that's an interesting thing for that. I think that would make the characters so much more interesting, and I'm really excited to see what they do with that.
Yeah, I think they've given themselves a lot of outs and a lot of different ways they can go. Mm-hmm. Because right now they're playing her as someone who's so desperate for a cure they wouldn't do anything. Mm-hmm. But we saw in the Vibe that she literally fights Vibe, which, wow, that was cool.
Yes, that was very, very cool, by the way. Both of them in costumes.
I think they're 100% right about they're finally mining the story possibilities of Caitlin, because we met Cisco's brother and kind of got that dynamic in season 1. We've explored everyone's lives except for Caitlin, mm-hmm. and it's going to be interesting to see as we dig what we find.
Right, absolutely. So I really think the other thing too with Caitlin, and I was just thinking about this, and it's something that it didn't hit me until this episode, and we don't see that very often. The relationship between Caitlin and Cisco, I think, is one that is very intriguing to me, because, and I hope they keep it this way, and you guys know how I am with shipping. I hate fucking shipping. Stop shipping. That shit is fucking stupid. I really hope they keep it a platonic friendship, because it's a very interesting dynamic that you don't get very often in shows, right? You usually get the friends, it's, okay, they were lovers at one point, but then they became friends, or he likes her, and then they get spurned, and something like that. Like, this feels like it's like Cisco genuinely cares for Caitlyn as a friend, and Caitlyn genuinely looks at Cisco as a friend, to the point that he's the one she comes to about the powers, and is open and honest with her. And he's the one that's like, that is trying to help her. And, you know, I really hope they go, because we don't really get that many male-female platonic relationships on TV, right? It always ends up being something sexual. And I really like the fact that this isn't sexual, that it's not, doesn't feel like, oh, at some point, Caitlyn and Cisco are going to get together. Like, I don't want that. I want them just to be friends. And I think that would make it even more tragic if she goes down this way and he has to fight her. And it's friend versus friend, knowing that, hey, his friend is in there somewhere and he's trying to help her come back, you know? So I'm really intrigued. I'm really, like, seeing that fight, and I thought it was very interesting that it was Killer Frost versus Vibe, and not Killer Frost and Flash and Vibe and something like that. It's literally those two, right? I find that very, very intriguing, and I'm really interested to see how that goes.
100%.
So I'm really interested how that goes. Other thing too is Barry, you idiot! You just made Caitlyn blame you for getting her powers.
Yep.
Like, she doesn't want these powers, and you sat there and you basically gave that split personality a person to blame.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Bear. Good job. You big dummy. You big fucking dummy. Let's see. Yeah, you know, thinking about it now, thinking about it more, there are things that happen in this episode that you kind of go, wait, how did we get there? I'm glad that Joe is now going on the date with the DA, but when did he make that decision?
Yeah, that I was like, was there a time jump?
I mean, again, I don't have a problem with it, but it was just like, wait a minute, just like he was cold feet the other day. What's going on here?
100% right.
Yeah. So again, like it, but it's just one of those things that just there feels like there was something missing, you know? Other thing we're gonna say, your boy HR, man.
What a great conceit with the face distorter or whatever.
Well, I'm glad they finally addressed.
They can keep Wells around.
Well, so again, there's another reason why I can forgive some of the problems with this episode, because then they also answered a problem that's happened last season, where you had Wells around all this time. And you're like, but where's Wells going? Wells is a known murderer. So I love
and a dead man.
And a dead man. Yeah, you're right. So I love the fact that that they didn't tell him, and he was like, "Wait, why can't I go?" It's like, "Oh yeah, so the old Wells, not the one you met, the one before that. Yeah, he kind of confessed to killing Barry's mother on videotape."
We're talking about evil Wells, not dickish, but not evil Wells, just straight up evil Wells.
Right. And I love how he's like, wait, you guys didn't think you could tell me? It's like, well, you didn't tell us that you didn't do half the shit you did, so, I mean, fair is fair, right? And then he decides to put together this facial, so there's two things that happen with this thing. First, doing the little facial, like, device so that everybody can't see that it's him. And his face look like Wells is great. But then when he basically did the Men in Black flash, so now everybody on the team can see him as regular Wells, I was like, oh, that is such a cheat code. But I can't front that actually is. I'll allow
I can't be mad.
No, it's so comic booky, right?
I was like, that was smart as shit.
Yeah,
People were like, that's contrived. I'm like, exactly. That's the point. It's made up technology. Of course it's contrived.
Right. I'm like, it was literally as somebody goes, hey, listen, we're gonna have Wells around for longer, and Tom Cavanaugh, we gotta address this. We can't.
He's gotta leave the fucking basement.
He's gotta leave the fucking basement. You gotta do this, and at some point he's gonna get some fucking money, some Earth One money or something, because the money he got right now is not good. Whatever the fuck that shit is, it's not good. And I love the disgusted look on Cisco's face when he gave him the money. Just go.
What are these?
Go. Yes, go.
Get your Monopoly game pieces away from me. What is this?
Oh man, but yeah, I really enjoyed the whole Flash thing, and now
I'm a little upset because HR I thought he was a shyster and a scam artist, and he is. But his identifying that they could build a museum to hide Star Lab.
Dude, Star Lab's museum.
I don't like that he is the idea man. I don't like it one bit. Because it's a great idea. It gives me closer to the Flash Museum, which is all I'm really here for.
Exactly. I was like, wait, so, I mean, if we're going to, if HR becomes a curator of the fucking Flash Museum.
If he changes his name to Dexter Miles, I quit. Those who know Dexter Miles in the comics is the longtime curator and tour guide of the Flash Museum. From Barry to Wally all the way to Bart, he has run that place.
Oh my God, he's going to do it. Because why not?
He is, because Dexter Miles just tells stories. He just tells Flash stories all day. God damn it.
I mean, why not? Like, he can be anybody he wants. You know? He's got, oh my God, that's what they're going to fucking do, yo. Because we know the Flash Museum gets built. Oh, man, that's going to be great. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I thought that was amazing and great there. What's up with Julian, yo?
So he's not alchemy. That's too obvious, right?
It's too obvious, but it also, they made a point of saying that he wasn't around. Which... Okay,
so in the comics... just so you guys know, Dr. Alchemy is also known as Mr. Element. Albert Desmond / Alvin Desmond. Why are there two names? Because he has dissociative identity disorder. One personality follows the law, the other one doesn't. I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm just saying that he wasn't there.
It stood out.
They made a point of it. They made a point to say it.
Because even Barry was
we noticed because they told us.
And even Barry says, he's never not there. So him not being there is weird. So, again, he's all about it. He also name dropped his girlfriend. So, and, yeah. So, something's going on with Julian. And
well, the other thing is, we've never really asked, where the fuck did Julian come from? Look, we don't know what he was pre-Flashpoint.
Right.
We don't know where he was pre-Flashpoint. We don't know what or where he was in Flashpoint. All I know is that Barry came back and this dude's in his office.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make any sense. He's literally the one thing that came out of nowhere. Like everything else in Flashpoint, everything else from like when Jay was telling Barry, hey, you try to put everything back together, but there are small cracks and things like here, and everything doesn't come back perfect. Fine. Julian is a huge difference. Like everything else kind of makes sense. Like, hey, the Star Lab's having a speed lab now. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can go with that.
Ironhide's holding metahumans.
Makes sense. Them having trackers now. Everybody on Team Flash having trackers, and like all of this stuff makes sense because there was some kind of connection, and honestly, they kind of were filling in plot holes and things that we questioned in previous seasons. So it all makes sense. Julian's the outlier. Where did he come from?
The only way you make Julian fit is that the only thing that would make sense for Julian's new inception in the timeline is that upon earlier recognition of the metahuman threat, they build out Iron Heights and then hire an experienced CSI to help Barry with the workload.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's stretching it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. So, yeah. I'm there's clearly something going on there with him, and it'll be interesting seeing what that is. So, like I said, him not being there this episode and they making a point of it, that is, yeah.
The reddest of flags.
Right. So, alrighty. Let's talk the end with Alchemy, and then bringing in Savitar, basically the god of speed. It looks like that Savitar seems to be. So was it him that killed the rival? I'm assuming
that's what it feels like, right?
That's what it feels like now. Yeah, I would think that now. Yeah. So, where do you think they're gonna go with this?
I'm nervous. Savitar, another speedster, big bad's weird.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
The idea that only Barry can see him.
Well, I say I think that's how you make it a little bit different. Him being a speedster, is that only Barry can see him.
Right.
So I think that that adds a different element, and I think if you're gonna build out a team around Barry with Wally and with at least with Vibe, who knows, maybe they'll do something with Killer Frost. It would make sense. I think you still need to have a speedster. Well, you don't need to have a speedster, but unless you're gonna do the rogues, you got to have somebody to challenge Barry, and it's going to involve something to do with speed.
Well, I'm really excited for the fact that only speedsters can see him, which means Wally, Jesse, Jay, and Barry are going to run together.
Yeah, that definitely should have to happen. Yeah. Like I said, I'm with you. Like, I know everybody's kind of like, it's another speedster. We can't, but you gotta think about it. How many times does a speedster always come into the end of this anyway? Like whether it's Zoom, Thawne, or something else, it sometimes always comes back to speed. Like, even you can get anything else unless you get the rogues. Like, even when you had the top at some point, it still involves speed. Yeah. So. I just think they have to be very careful, like you said, to make sure it doesn't fall into the same trap. Like I said, I think Zoom was different than Thawne, and with Savitar, you have to make sure he's different than what you've done before. I think as long as it's different, it'll be fine.
You've got to make him Barry's fault.
Yeah.
Like, if I slipped through the cracks when you broke the world, like, that's got to be this. Like, Thawne and Zoom were outside threats that came after him.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. So if you make Savitar, and again, hey, because remember what we had with the end of last season with Zoom, we saw him kind of turn into, Black Flash, maybe tying into that a little bit. I don't know, because you still got that element out there too. So, like I said, they have to be careful with it. I'm not too nervous yet. I want to see more, and with next episode being Killer Frost, I don't know how much more we're gonna get. So, we'll see. Shit. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not nervous yet, but I can see how it can get nervous, but we'll see. Like I said, this is another, again, even though it's an episode I'm kind of down on and I'm not loving completely, they'd have to have like at least 7 in a row before I'd really start worrying, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So, I will say this: Tobin Bell as Alchemy is just terrifying enough.
So, who do we think's under the mask?
Like you said, the obvious answer would be Julian, but what if it's nobody? What if it's nobody we've met?
man.
You know? Well,
Yeah.
I do feel like the leading candidate is Julian just because, but I think it goes back to what you were saying last episode when we talked Arrow that Quentin is too obvious a choice for Prometheus.
Right.
Right? Like, it would be interesting, but it's too obvious of a choice. So, like, who could it be? Like, yeah, what if it's just, I would think, what if it's just somebody different? Or, like you said, it could be the split personalities of Julian. Which, again, would make sense. You know? Makes sense. And think about it, with Julian's distrust, well, not distrust, Julian, how does Julian feel about metahumans? They're wasting their talents, right?
Right.
So, Alchemy is over here trying to make metas, you know, who they're supposed to be and allow them, you know, to do everything they're supposed to do. You know, so I don't know. I feel like Julian's a leading candidate right now, but it could be anybody. Thought I lost you again.
I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Anything else you want to say? Oh wait, I did have one thing in here for everybody. Oh, for everybody who would love it. There is no Flash if there is no Iris West. So, yeah.
Yeah, she's his anchor. She's his return point. No.
Yeah. So if anybody ever had a problem, you know, with the way Iris was last season, I don't think you have to worry about it this season. They heard you loud and clear. And just in case anybody had any doubts, that's where we're going with this. So.
Oh, and she throws a nice right cross.
Oh, yeah. She knocks the fuck out of Wally, yo. Yeah. Yeah, Iris doesn't need powers, yo.
She does a better punch than Barry, dude.
She does. Yeah, she does. Well, hey, if you think about it, this is how they tie everything together. I think wasn't it season 1 when Joe was teaching it was young Iris and young Barry. You teaching them both how to punch, and right. Iris was the better fighter. So, I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah, she's a better puncher than Barry. So, makes sense. Barry needs the power because he needs to. Iris doesn't need power to give you them hands. So, just saying.
She whipped her little brother's ass.
Yeah, she did. It's like that's it. She gave him that older sibling beating. Just nah, yo.
With interest, that's over years.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Yeah, so like I said, I'm really interested. Next week is last episode before we do the 4-episode crossover, which I need to catch up on Supergirl this weekend, so I'm prepared for that. But next week is Killer Frost. It's titled Killer Frost, and it's also directed by Kevin Smith, who did one of the better episodes last season. So I expect some really good stuff from this next episode coming up. So if we were a little down on this one, I definitely feel that we're going to bounce back next week with a really, really good episode. That's probably going to be, even though it's called Killer Frost and we know we're trying to expect, I suspect it's going to be way more emotional than we're prepared for.
That too, and plus we've got Wally in a fucking cocoon.
Yeah, yep, we do. So Wally going to get them powered because, hey, he had to pick that shit up, which I'm not going to lie, I was whispering, do it, Wally. Do it. Pick it up, Wally. It's fine. Hey, just pick it up in your hand. It's fine. Play with it.
Me too.
Yeah. So, alrighty. All right. So that's the Flash. Let's get into some other stuff we want to talk about before we wrap this up. The first things that staying on this network, Legend of Tomorrow is moving to Tuesdays.
This is a tinted murder.
Yeah, I'm letting you guys know right now. We're keeping the same schedule.
Our schedule will not change.
Yeah, Legend of Tomorrow will be reviewed with Arrow on the weekends. Maybe we might be generous and move those to Saturday, but don't bet on it.
No, I wouldn't bet on that.
Yeah, don't bet on that. Like I said, we're more likely going to be keeping them on Sundays, and you'll just have to deal. Because, like, here's the thing though, I'm happy for them because it makes sense. Hey, listen, you, and I love the fact that whether they want to admit it or not, it is so obvious that they are very aware that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes on at 10.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, hey, well, you have an hour gap. Would you like some Legends? While you wait? Would you like to watch some Legends of Tomorrow while you wait for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Hey, here you go. So now we're getting 3 fucking superhero shows in a goddamn row. We're gonna die Tuesdays. Like, not even for review, just watching. We're gonna die. Cause remember, if I can't remember, like I think Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. will end way after Flash, and thank God it will, because Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. always does that 2-hour episode.
Right.
That would kill us.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah, starting in January, Legends of Tomorrow will be airing on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Good for them. Good for CW. And yeah, man, I'm awesome for that. I'm down.
So are we changing the name of the network to DC?
What, the CW?
Yeah, just the DC.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I forgot. I've heard really good things about it, but I haven't watched it. I heard iZombie is pretty good. Like, why not?
Yep.
And I know they say they're done making superhero shows, but doesn't it kind of feel like they might be making room for another one?
It really does.
Like, I don't. I know they're saying that that's not what it is, but it feels like that's what it is. You know? It feels like that's what it is. It feels like they're making room for yet another superhero show. Cause why would you move it off of Thursdays? It doesn't, like. I mean, I hear you, but you could have put the other show there. You didn't need to put Legends at 9 p.m. on Tuesday. What are you doing? So, the thing that will intrigue me is if that affects the plot lines in the show. Because right now you have a general order, right? Flash usually happens before Arrow, and Arrow happens before Legend of Tomorrow, things like that. Will this move up when events on Legend of Tomorrow happen? Even, I mean, it's a time traveling show, so I guess maybe you don't have to worry about it too much. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that works. So, yeah. Now, the other probably bigger news Marvel's some assholes.
Yep.
Because, like, this is some pretty big news, but they kind of just threw it out there with no real fanfare. Like it wasn't big news. So you guys remember the Inhumans movie that got postponed and they were working on it, figuring out what they're going to do with it. So they've decided that Marvel's The Inhumans will be a TV show, but it's also going to come to the first 2 episodes are going to come in IMAX format and do a limited run in IMAX in theaters for 2 weeks with a show that airs in 2017 on ABC.
Game cheating. What do we say?
Marvel Television, a unit of Marvel Entertainment and Disney ABC Television today, announced an innovative agreement to exclusively premiere the new ABC series Marvel's Inhumans in IMAX commercial theaters, marking the first time a live-action television series has debuted in this manner, in IMAX. Which already should tell you what the budget is going to look like. Okay, it's going to be an IMAX, so the budget. Under the agreement, a version of the first 2 episodes of Marvel's television's new series, Marvel's Inhumans, produced in conjunction with ABC Studios and filmed entirely with IMAX digital cameras. Again, guys, you need to understand, IMAX digital cameras are expensive as fuck.
As fuck.
Will run worldwide exclusively in IMAX for 2 weeks at the beginning of September 2017. So this technically means, I know they say that it's not a movie, but this technically, if it's going to be in theaters and IMAX, it's a fucking movie, which technically means Marvel has 4 fucking movies coming out next year.
Chris, we said this when they did the Agent Carter. We said their 2-part episodes are basically movies.
Mm-hmm.
And we also said that with certain happenings in the front office, that this would knock down the wall between Marvel TV and Marvel movies. Well, this isn't just knock down the wall. This kick the sumbitch over.
Yeah. Perlmutter's name is not mentioned anywhere in this press release.
Who? He didn't even go here no more.
Right. Right.
Man, he didn't even go here. What are you talking about? We don't know him.
And again, this isn't going to be like this isn't going to be like a bullshit Fox X-Men attempt at movies or like Gotham, where we're kind of do Batman light, but not. No, they say in this on Marvel.com, this is dealing with Black Bolt and the royal family. Dude, we're gonna have a TV show with the royal family. Are you fucking? They're gonna end up doing a. This is why Marvel's not gonna. This is why Fox is not gonna do a fucking X-Men TV show. You can't after this.
How could you?
You can't. You can't. Like, Fox, you should have been on this. Like, can you, dude? If this season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ends with the royal family showing up, because how can it not, right? Because if it has to now, right? Because listen, this Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to end, or when it usually ends, which is May. This series is going to start, is going to premiere over the summer of 2017 in IMAX, which means you're going to want to lead people into it, and you're going to want to, drum that up for people to go watch it in theaters and to watch the series. So that means this season of Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to lead to this. Even they've been off for 2 weeks, they still stole the week, yo.
It's amazing.
They didn't even put a show out, still stole the week. And here's the thing. This doesn't mean there can't be a movie.
Right. Another movie.
Right. Like, this doesn't mean there's no movie. And this, and again, if you do this, this opens up so much shit now. Like you said, the wall between TV and movies now basically has to come down. And we've been noticing that season. We've been like, hey man, it just seems different. Seems like they went with Ghost Riders. They got Johnny, like, Marvel ain't playing fair, and I'm loving that they don't play fair. I love that they don't play fair. Like, this is, I'm very, very excited. I know as we hear more and more, we'll have more and more theories, and especially as we see more and more what's going on with this. Other thing I want to point out is, again, maybe this is it, but I didn't see his name. This might not be John Ridley's show.
Mm-mm. You're right.
His name is not mentioned here. We know he still has a show, so I don't know. I have no idea what he's doing. Maybe it is, but you would think that if it was his show, that they would name it. They would name him on this, but we'll see. I'm very excited to see what they do here. And the thing I like about Marvel and what Disney is doing with Marvel is, something you don't usually see with this kind of stuff. They're being very creative, and they're once again, just like what they did with Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and what Marvel Studios did with the shared universe, they're changing the game.
Yep.
Like, and I don't think that what I'm afraid of now. I'm afraid that this might make DC and Warner Brothers react, because if Marvel pulls this off, there's going to be instant cries for people to bring that CW universe into the DC cinematic universe. And I'm afraid DC and Warner Brothers are stupid enough to jump to that.
You think they are like, this is a trap that Marvel's laying.
Yeah, it's a big fucking trap. Like, I mean, I'm not saying there's not ways DC could do it. They have a multiverse. It's not impossible. I'm just saying I don't believe they would do it right. And Marvel just laid out a huge trap for them, and there's almost no way Warner Brothers doesn't step into it. Like, it's just like, there's a sign in everything that says "Do not step here," and Warner Brothers is gonna step there. And
this is Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd.
Good God. The first,
also, Warner Brothers properties, funnily enough. Yeah, this is going to end poorly for DC.
Yeah. This first of its kind multi-platform production, distribution, and marketing agreement brings together Marvel Television's unique brand of entertainment, ABC's unparalleled audience, and IMAX's brand of a global fanboy demographic. It also takes our decades-long relationship with the Walt Disney Company to a whole new level, jointly breaking new ground in the industry. We are confident our exhibition partners will be excited to work with us on this innovative launch of a series across the IMAX network.
If you listen to that quote slowly, you can actually hear Kevin Feige's middle fingers go up.
Like, dude, they're gonna do. Listen, because we've been. Oh, look, when we talked about X-Men Apocalypse, the one thing we said was like, oh man, you know what? Finally, you know what? Maybe the X-Men would be a better TV show. Maybe they would be. Maybe that's why Fox has been failing with X-Men so hard. They're trying to do they're falling in the trap of doing these movies. They really need a TV show to really get the aspect. Oh God, Marvel Studios is doing an Inhuman TV show. They're gonna do it before Fox does. God damn it.
Hey, before we get too far, will you talk me out of Legion?
No, I can't. Well,
okay.
Oh no, I can talk you out of Legion. Here's because I looked at the first trailer for it and I was like, oh, I'm kind of in. Here's how I talk you out of Legion. Bryan Singer.
Damn it, nigga, you did it. One name. That was amazing.
There you go. Because that's what took me out. I was fine until Bryan Singer started talking, and I saw he was involved, and then I was like, I mean, okay, whatever. I didn't care anymore. So, yeah, I'll probably watch the first episode, but I have no hopes for it. And again, when that starts this fall. No, wait, that's not this fall. Oh, so that when does that start?
I have no idea. I've seen commercials, so I imagine after the holidays?
I guess so. Hold on. Let me look this up.
It's on FX, right?
Yeah. It comes out next 8 episodes. They don't have a premiere date for it yet, but it's in 2017. Oh, God. So I have something here. Let's see. Oh, God. Something on Vox. It says something that I don't believe. The first 30 minutes of FX's Legion are better than any other superhero show on TV.
See, why even say that? Why not just say better than X-Men movies? Why go that far? Why lie to us? Do they mean better than any other television or comic book series done by a Fox network? Because Gotham is rat dung. Like, yeah, maybe.
Legion is visually stunning and easily the best-looking superhero show ever made. Okay.
I'm not watching now.
I don't believe you. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. I guess they premiered it at least the first 30 minutes at New York Comic Con, so it's got to be coming out next year. And it's got 8 episodes. I mean, good luck. I mean, Marvel's got IMAX and Inhumans. So, other thing too I want to throw out there, because I saw the rumor. There was talk about how Marvel Studios and Marvel and Fox collaborated with Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy.
And Ego, yeah.
That's not what happened. They swapped characters. That's all it was.
Right.
It was.
Well, not even that. It's so the rule is Fox can use any mutant tied to the X-Men, but they can't change their power sets or histories.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to use Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Deadpool, who in the comics is a psychic manifestation of Emma Frost losing her goddamn mind, and able to make her a powerhouse and visually appealing for the studio, they said they could use the rights to Ego, who apparently had come over in the FF deal, which actually makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no this. I'll tell you what, this is more cooperation than I thought was possible.
Yeah, still not a lot of cooperation, but it's
not a lot, but this is a if not a step, it's a glance in the right direction.
Right. I'm still very eager and interested in seeing what Fox if the next few years you need to keep an eye open an eye out and an ear open for what happens with the Fantastic Four property.
I was about to say that's the one to watch.
That's the one to watch. Like everybody keep talking about X-Men. Keep an eye on Fantastic Four. Marvel, Fox has to do something with those in the next 5 years after this year. Then, yeah, 5 years, or they revert back. They've already lost Michael B. Jordan. Miles Teller is out here doing movies and trying to get Oscars. Good luck. Like they'll have to. Here's the thing: they'll have. I say this to say they'll have to reboot it again.
Yep.
So you'd be rebooting Fantastic Four for a third time, and I don't see that working unless you do like Sony did and you somehow get the rights back to Marvel. Or you work. Now, this is something that I think could happen. You know, we talk about collaboration, things like that. What if Fox decides to do the same deal that Sony did, which is the rights stay with Fox, but Fantastic Four can be in the MCU? Keep an eye out for that. Like I see that to me is a possibility. You'll never see the X-Men do that because why? They don't need to. They'll make enough money on their own.
Those shitty movies make money.
Right. But the Fantastic Four has never really been a moneymaker for Fox. And this would be a way that Sony deal then opens the door for them. Hey, you keep that and you let us use some of these characters and you can make it. And here's the thing. When you start making the movies on your own, if you make a Fantastic Four movie, because they're part of the MCU, people are going to go see and watch it. If the rights don't directly go back to Marvel, keep an eye out for that kind of deal. I think that could be something that happens.
And the thing is, you can bring the FF in. A lot of these are going to bring mutants.
Oh, exactly.
To bring mutants in, you have to literally be like, okay, there's been this subsection of the population that's not only been ignored by anyone in our media, but Captain America was never like, hey, these people are being treated like second-class citizens. The FF, you make them a covert SHIELD operation that went on a mission, and all that was left was like a negative zone projector. Mm-hmm. You bring them out in the climax of Infinity War, and either do a prequel with them as teens or have one with an older FF, an established FF. They automatically become the first family of Marvel. If you bring them back if you make them a legend and then bring them back from the dead over the course of 2 to 3 movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
yeah. What's this file? That's a file from the 60s. What happened? Richards' team, they vanished. We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
A throwaway line.
Yeah. It's easy to integrate the Fantastic Four into the Marvel. Or you could even have them just come in and you could even have them do the origin.
I think it's weirder doing the origin because a lot of the thing that, I don't know, maybe you're right, because for me, and I'm just a Marvel, just a purist, I guess, they're always the first. Like, Sue Storm, to me, her biggest power isn't the force field, it's that she is the mother of Marvel Comics.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that you could do it without that. You could make them like a younger team, which is fine because there's a space that's unoccupied for young teams in the cinematic universe too.
Yeah, but I think you're right. Like you said, the first family and the aspect of them being like Reavers being one of the smartest people, if not the smartest person in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and everybody going to him and go. Yeah, I agree. I think you're right on that one. Yeah, it would be nicer to do, and I think it avoids you having to go and do the origin again, which again has been done 2 times.
Plus, if you make them old, I can get Val on the screen. I can have a deliciously evil 3-year-old on a movie,
and her Uncle Doom,
and her godfather. Excuse you.
I'm sorry. You're right.
Victor Von Doom.
Yeah, her godfather. Her godfather Victor.
Have him vanish with him too. Have us, because we've never been really to that. We've never been to where Latveria would be. Which, by the way, I was watching NBA this weekend, and someone was from Latvia, and I had a small moment where I was like, "Wait a second, Latvia? Okay, never mind."
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see what Marvel does with the Inhumans and everything else going on here. Yeah. So. All right, folks, that will wrap this up now. Again, thank you guys very much for listening. Super Tuesday recap on iTunes, Stitcher Radio. Next week, we are back with just the CW shows. Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. does not come back until after Thanksgiving. And then when we come back from that, we have the big four episode crossover in CW, and then we also have Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. back. So a lot going on there, guys. And again, Inhumans. Whew. Ever since they showed up, man, it like they just okay, Marvel. Gotta love how they did this.
Last two things. Listen to Unanimous Decision podcast, and two, fuck Michael Bay, fuck King Arthur, fuck The Last Night.
See, I
miss anything?
See, I wasn't even. Gonna
I know
bring
you.
it up.
I was going to commend you actually for not bringing it up, but then I got mad just thinking about it.
I wasn't even going to mention Michael Bay
I did.
in
fuck,
that.
Fuck Stonehenge.
They're literally. Wait, are they going to Stonehenge?
Nigga, of course they are.
For those who don't know what he's talking about, there was a official still from the Transformers 5 that showed King Arthur's knights.
King Arthur, Merlin, a bunch of knights just chilling on a Transformers set. You think that, I don't know, cars and planes would make it the historical record? We're gonna find out. I hate you, Michael Bay.
That's gonna be an interesting thing, right?
God,
like, because they're really all vehicles. So how are we gonna?
You know what's gonna happen? They're gonna have these flashbacks to King Arthur. They're gonna bury some weapon, some. Oh, I hate it already.
Because you already know how it was gonna go.
I can't wait to not watch this movie. I'm so excited. God, I hate you. Go read More Than Meets the Eye. Go read Lost Light in a month.
Oh, folks, yes. All right, we're out of here, guys. Thank you guys very much for listening. Don't forget, you can email us at mtrailerreviews@movietrailerreviews.net. Until next time, we're out of here.